Hey guys, MichaelBtheGameGenie here, and on today's video we're going to talk about the hottest and hardest to get home arcade machine on the market today, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. But is that demand actually real, or is Arcade1Up using a marketing tactic called artificial scarcity to make you think the demand is there? We'll talk more about it right after this. So that's right guys, today we're going to be talking about Arcade1Up Marvel vs. Capcom 2 pre-order debacle. People are having so much trouble placing a pre-order through Arcade1Up, even at retailers. They just can't seem to find this machine. Is the demand really that high, or is something else going on here? Maybe Arcade1Up is bamboozling us a little bit. But before we get started on that, I want to say thank you so much for checking out the video. I always appreciate the support, guys. You guys are awesome to me, actually. And if this is your first time to the channel, you like what you see, go ahead, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, all that YouTube stuff. Help a brother out. I don't think anybody is surprised that people are excited about the announcement of Arcade1Up Marvel vs. Capcom 2. For a long time now, there's been free MVC hashtags out there. This is a fighting game people have wanted to see re-released, and for whatever reason, it was tied up in licensing limbo. John D made it happen, Arcade1Up is releasing it, and people are going nuts trying to place a pre-order. The demand is certainly there, demand is certainly high. I mean, even me, I'm not part of the fighting game community. I'm not the biggest fighting game fan. I understand how important it is to have a playable version of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 available again for the people that don't currently have a way to play it. And especially the concept of having it online in an arcade cabinet in your home that you could play against other people. It truly is exciting. But I never imagined that Arcade1Up wouldn't be able to keep enough stock to meet the demand of customers. And if you go back to the initial 1UP show, when the title was announced at EVO in Las Vegas, John D was there with Jay Wong, Liv, and Moat, and they talked about the pre-order process, coming up with a loyalty list and telling people, hey guys, you're gonna get on top of this early because we have limited quantities. Right from the get-go, I took that as a talking point. It's Arcade1Up's model. David McIntosh said it a bunch of years ago. They go with the Nintendo model. So basically, all their products are one production run. Once they sell out, they're gone. So if you don't get them when they're available, you're not going to be able to find them later. But I thought this was just one of those normal situations where they made, 3,000, 4,500 units. Sure, John, being a big fighting game guy and a Capcom guy, might have thought demand was going to be super high and they would burn through those 3,000 units. That was my thought. But I didn't think they would run into any problems. But like everybody else, there was kind of a push to make sure people were aware of this. There were contests where YouTubers were letting people sign up for a chance to win a Yoga Flame cabinet. I signed up myself to be on what's called the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 loyalty list. Now, for those of you following at home, you know there were problems with the loyalty list. It didn't quite work. Not everybody got an email, but somehow, through the grace of God, I was one of the people that actually got an email from Arcade1Up that said, stay tuned, tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is going to come out. I don't know if this is the loyalty list email or a generic email they sent out to tell people, but they were doing a marketing campaign saying, get ready for the pre-order. Make sure you're there for the pre-order. And they've hyped everybody up at this point, telling them that Marvel vs. Capcom 2, you better pre-order, you better pre-order. So they got that ingrained in everybody's mind. Guess what happened? So guys, the pre-order went live at 11:55 Eastern on Arcade1Up.com and sold out pretty much immediately. Like, it was gone, just absolutely gone. They were overwhelmed. Now, another thing I want to show you really quickly, you go through the pictures, you always think these are just models in these pictures, but if you take a close look, I think that's actually Nicole from Arcade1Up. You might remember from the charity stream. Yeah, so I think that's Nicole there in the picture playing some Marvel vs. Capcom 2. If you go all the way back, there's actually these stock images that Arcade1Up do, and David McIntosh is actually in a couple as a model for Arcade1Up. I always find that funny. But anyways, they were just sold out pretty much immediately. I actually ended up going on a stream myself with John D later that week on B Kong's channel, where we talked about how hard it was with the pre-order process and Arcade1Up feeling bad that they couldn't meet all customers' needs. What's funny enough, Moat was on the stream too, and you may famously remember Moat losing his mind during his own stream because he couldn't place an order through Arcade1Up.com. He was so mad, but luckily he got one through Best Buy. But pretty much all the pre-orders at all the stores sold out on September 8th. They were all just gone. There was such a community uproar about how hard it was to get a copy of Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and so much fan lashback. John made that appearance, but they also put out a press release through Twitter with a note to the community to say it was a wilder ride than we thought. Which is funny because the song from Marvel vs. Capcom is... what is it? Want to go for a ride or take you for a ride? So there it is right there. It's almost like this was all planned, right? So it said, stay tuned. There'll be more updates in the coming week. And I want to go back to that video with John. In the video, John did apologize for the early pre-orders and say, I'm very sorry about this, but told people to rest assured there'd be more availability coming later in December from Shop Hippo and a couple other places. You'd be able to get more cabinets for anybody that missed out. But he did further reiterate that this is one production run. Once it's gone, it's gone. So this is absolutely crazy, right? I have never in my life seen demand for an Arcade1Up product like this. I mean, even Burger Time, when they announced that it'd be a limited run, I mean, they still struggled to sell all those out by the end. Like, there has never been an arcade cabinet with a just avalanche of demand like this one. Could it be the title? Is Marvel vs. Capcom 2 that big a deal? Or is something else going on here? Something just seems a little bit weird about this, that all the retailers will be sold out right away September 8th. But since then, we've seen several other waves from Target, Walmart, Best Buy of additional pre-orders go up. And how is that possible if they were already sold out, right? Well, is Arcade1Up using a marketing tactic called artificial scarcity, or basically controlling the supply to make it seem like the demand is higher than it is? So for those of you that regularly get emails from Arcade1Up.com or Arcade1Up, you would have got one yesterday saying, backed by popular demand, that's right, we're bringing Marvel vs. Capcom 2 back tomorrow, limited quantities, limited again, remember, and you are the first to know, freed MVC2, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So pre-orders are going up today as of 12 p.m. Eastern in limited quantities on Arcade1Up. So if you missed it the first time, missed it through one of the other retails, either the first time or the second time, you can place your pre-order today. But here's the question I have to ask. So Arcade1Up did a pre-order. You had to be there September 8th. They had this loyalty list, and the loyalty list kind of got shafted too, to which they had to make apologies. Now all of a sudden you have more stock. Why didn't you have that stock on September 8th? I mean, if anybody knows how many cabinets you're producing and how many cabinets you are going to have quantity to put out, wouldn't it be Arcade1Up? I even give apologies to the retailers here, because I don't think the retailers are doing it. I don't think Best Buy, I don't think Walmart, I don't think Shop Hippo, any of these other retailers were in on this whole hook here or whatever it was, because, I mean, they're just retailers. They'll buy what they can buy, and Arcade1Up says, we have this many quantity to sell you. Maybe Arcade1Up was holding back quantities from them, or maybe it's a marketing plan. They're all in on it together. Only release this many pre-orders initially, and maybe that's the case, but I don't understand how Arcade1Up didn't have these additional units that we're seeing for pre-order today all the way back on September 8th. Why not just make people happy on September 8th if you had additional quantities? Unless you are using this artificial scarcity marketing. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with artificial scarcity, there's lots of definitions out of it, and you can take it out of context. I took this article up, read it through there, smart positioning and stuff like that. What they're basically saying here is it's available for limited time, or there's only so many units that you're going to be able to get people hyped up and create FOMO, which is something people with Arcade1Up cabinets always have. They always have FOMO. Believe me, I'm like the king of FOMO. So what they've done here is they've said, this is going to be a limited release. You're not going to be able to get it unless you pre-order. Better pre-order now, or else you won't be able to get this in any capacity. And people are rushing out to pick up the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 Arcade1Up cabinet in record time. I mean, this is probably going to sell out before it ever hits stores because of this smart marketing. Now, before you get the pitchforks out, I'm not saying this is, super negative thing about Arcade1Up. I mean, it's a marketing strategy. Lots of companies do it. I mean, when the PlayStation 3 came out, PlayStation 4, the Xbox come out, all these new systems, they do this. It's going to be hard to get it initially, and they create FOMO and hype for people to rush to the store and try to get one. It becomes a big thing where you say, wow, I got one of these. You even look at the sneaker companies right now. People are posting online right now pictures saying, got them for the Air Jordan 4s, because such a big deal to get this exclusivity and be in this exclusive club. Lots of companies are doing this. The only thing is, I feel bad for the people that haven't been able to get their pre-order yet, or were made upset by this marketing strategy because they couldn't get it when there was clearly more stock available that just could have been flooded the first day of pre-orders. Arcade1Up could have just put all their pre-orders up and could have let all the retailers put their pre-orders up. So it's weird that they didn't do that. Now, I'll also be a little bit defensive here for Arcade1Up. Maybe there's some reasoning behind this madness, and maybe it has to do with not so much the quantity they produce, but the quantity they were able to get over to the shores in time. So if you guys don't follow him, go follow J. Scott Gray on Twitter. He is an excellent source of information for Arcade1Up products, information, and stuff like that. So back on, I believe this was September 5th, he actually sent this information up that as of September 3rd, Capcom International tastemakers with the bill of lading received 1,500 units of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So we know the production run is usually about 3,000, maybe 4,500, some kind of number, 3,000 plus. That's usually what we're looking at. And as of September 3rd, and I haven't seen any more shipping data since, they only received 1,500 units into their shores. Now, again, to be clear, I'm not trying to defend, I'm just saying there's a reasonable doubt that Arcade1Up isn't using this artificial scarcity marketing campaign just to drum up hype and demand. That might be part of it, but part of the reason might be that they're just trying to be honest with consumers, and they don't want to put pre-orders out there until there's actually product available. Maybe they want to get it out in a reasonable time frame. And if you look at the time frame right now, pre-orders for Marvel vs. Capcom 2 supposed to start shipping out to people October 6th, October 12th. They reached the ports as of September 3rd, so that's a reasonable time frame to get it through the ports to the company and then back out to the consumers. So maybe that ties into it. I'm not saying that's the only reason. I really do believe that there's some marketing magic going on here to try to create FOMO and hype and that Nintendo effect, but maybe there is some real reasons as to why only a portion of their stock was put up for pre-order on September 8th, and now there's magically more stock. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think that Arcade1Up are bamboozling you, creating false hype for Marvel vs. Capcom 2? Maybe this crazy, unreal demand isn't actually there, or do you think that the demand is legitimate and Arcade1Up are just trying to do the best they can to meet consumers' needs and consumer demand on this product? Anyways, guys, thank you so very much for watching. This is Michael B. the Game Genie, and I'll see you next time.